All right, counsel, be seated. Welcome back, members of the jury. Stay ready to call up central witness.
Yes, at this time, State House Jeffrey Garzabkowski. Your Honor, we have a witness in the restroom, so at this time I'll call Cynthia Steinhaus.
All right.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Steinhaus, if you could please introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Cynthia Steinhaus, S-T-E-I-N-H-A-U-S.
And Ms. Steinhaus, what do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
And where do you work?
I work at Hippocrates Health Institute and rehab centers. This is my career, is working in rehabs.
And in regards to that career, does it often involve working later hours or unusual shifts?
It does. Sometimes evening shifts, sometimes 12-hour shifts.
Now, I want to draw your attention to November 16th, 17th of 2016. At that time, where were you living?
16141 East Glasgow Drive in Waxahachie.
And in relation to that address, did you know an individual named Miss Berry, Miss Nicola Berry?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
I live one house down on the opposite side of the road, so we're neighbors.
And in relation, I'm going to show you some diagrams, may I refer to it?
Yes.
I'm approaching you with dates 6 and 7. Are you able to, in their Google Maps, because they are of your home, are you able to tell us in relation to, is your home on either of these?
Glasgow Drive, East Glasgow Drive. Yes.
And this is Miss Berry's home, so is your home
I'm towards the canal. I'm more towards the canal.
So in relation to State's photograph 6, where we have Miss Berry's home, you're closer to off and out to the bottom.
Yes.
Now, in addition to being neighbors, were you familiar with Miss Berry? Had you met her prior to
Yes,
her?
we talk arguing all the time and everything, back and forth with each other.
Now, I want to ask you about the morning of November 17th, so midnight on November 17th, 2016. At that time period, where was your place of employment?
It was at, I was working for behavioral health in the Palm Beaches, and I was working in North Palm Beach.
Okay. And in regards to that location, in relation to Waxahachie, is it not only north but east?
Correct.
And so approximately, how long would it take you to come to or from work?
Depending upon the traffic at that hour of the night and everything, it's usually about 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Now, at that time, generally, do you remember what time you were able to leave work?
I was scheduled to leave at 11:30. However, if there's circumstances going on with the patients, then I have to stay until it cleared up. I know that none of But I'm going to say that I was probably on the road somewhere around 11:30, quarter to 12.
Okay. Now, in relation to returning home, do you remember when you returned home, if you noticed anything in relation to Miss Berry's residence?
I did. I noticed that I saw a white Toyota overmodel car, and it was parked. It was kind of almost blocking me from going down the road, and it was parked out in front of Miss Berry's home. And I recognized the car as being belonging to Miss Eam, because I've seen it in the yard off and on so many times.
And in your course of being neighbors with Miss Berry, had you seen Miss Eam with Miss Berry's son, James Berry? Have you seen them in that area, or familiar enough with her son?
I'm familiar with both of them and everything, but usually she was coming out of the house and taking her books and going to school and everything at that time.
Now, so when you saw the vehicle at that point in time, you said it was parked unusually. Was it somewhat in the road?
It was quite a bit in the road. It was facing going out to 162nd Street, and so I was approaching this way. And of course, like I said, my house is past where Miss Berry's house is, so I had to go down in the swale a little bit in order to clear the front end of the car.
And you, in relation to the street that you're talking about, was it facing in that same direction as the arrow or the opposite? You said it facing
162nd Street. So I live on the canal, so I'm moving past the Berry's house, and so it would be on the way facing going out.
So facing towards you, where your home is, closer to off the map. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry.
I phrased the question incorrectly. Now, in this relation to this street, is that 162nd?
That's coming in off of Okeechobee, yes, yes.
So this, the road that
It was facing this way.
So it was facing in the
As
same
it was going to
direction
go out.
as
Yes,
the blue arrow that you
yes,
see.
yes.
Now, at this point in time, did you just observe the car and go into your house?
I did. Not going to cause any disturbances or make any questions or anything. I just went home and thought, well, okay, that's strange. Like, okay.
Now, at this point in time, do you remember approximately what time you saw that vehicle?
Like I said, it would be sometime after 12 and about 1 o'clock in the morning.
So somewhere in between 12 and 1 o'clock. And is that a yes, just for the record?
Yes.
And at this point, do you take note of it to write down the exact time that you observed this?
Absolutely not.
Do you then, is there some point in time where you go into your residence and you're awoken by commotion outside?
Yes, I went in and I got comfortable and I watched a little bit of TV for a while and all of a sudden I see all the red flashing lights and everything and I went in at that time.
And at that time, did you see that there were police in front of Miss Berry's residence?
Absolutely. Not so sure.
At that point in time, did you go over and make contact with Miss Berry?
I saw that the paramedics were over there and I stayed my distance away from it. And then when I saw the paramedics coming out with a person in the gurney and everything, I started walking towards her house. The sheriff came and said, "Who are you?" And Nicholas said, "You know, that's my neighbor. I need to get it up from her." And she came out and talked to me.
And at that point, when you saw Miss Berry, did you stay with her for those few hours in the morning? Did you stay with her?
I stayed with them all night long until 5:30 in the morning. It was a very cold evening. They were not allowed to go back in the house. They were shoeless. They had shorts on and everything. And so I went home. I got sweatshirts. I got towels. I got chairs for them to sit on because they were just standing on the ground.
So just so that they could have some sort of warmth and chairs outside. Now I'm going to show you some photographs what has previously been admitted as 99, 100, and 103. Do you recognize states 103, 99, and 100?
Yes, that's the older model Toyota.
The same one that you saw parked in the Berry's yard?
Yes.
Just for the record, that's states 103. And in addition to assisting Miss Berry Did that also include Mr. Guyhand as well, that you provided?
Oh, yes.
Did you, that evening, provide the law enforcement, the detectives who were present with the same information you told us?
I absolutely did.
I do not have any further questions of this witness.
Cross-examination.
No, thank you.
You may step down. Thank you.
Yes. I could have that moment based on the defense's request.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Garzabkowski,
Yep.
if you could please introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your last name for the record.
It's Jack Garzabkowski, and last name is spelled Jabkowski.
And how old are you?
26.
What city do you currently live in?
Wellington.
And did you grow up in Palm Beach County, Florida?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
Right now, I'm currently a store manager for a small business called Things Law&Crime.
And is that aquariums, fish tanks?
Correct.
Did you know an individual named James Berry?
I did.
Was he one of your good friends?
He was one of my best friends. He was like a brother to me.
Now, I want to talk to you back in November of 16. Approximately how long have you known James?
I want to say at that time, probably around close to 7 years, I would say.
In relation to, in addition to being one of your best friends, was there a certain point in time where you also lived in the same home as Mr. James Berry?
Yes.
And was that a time period where you lived in the same home with where you rented a room from his mother, Nicola Berry, and lived at the same time in relation to Miss Berry, Mr. James Berry, as well as Guy Hand?
That is correct.
Back in November of 2016, were you still friends with Mr. James Berry?
Yes.
At that time, did you live with Mr. Berry in the home at Glasgow Drive?
No.
Since you were friends, would it be common for you to visit him at that home?
Absolutely.
Would you sometimes stay overnight at the home as well?
From time to time, yes.
Were you and Mr. James Berry, was one of the things that you did together video games?
All the time.
Are you yourself, are you an avid gamer?
Yeah.
Was James Berry also an avid gamer?
That is correct. A lot more than me.
Now, in relation to video games, did you yourself play a game, League of Legends, I believe it's called?
At the time, I wasn't really playing it, but I was aware of the game, and so yes and no.
Okay. So, and at the time, in your friendship with James Berry back in November of 2016, were you aware of him playing League of Legends?
Yes.
And in relation to that League of Legends, have you seen him play it?
Yes.
Is that a game, for those who aren't familiar with game systems such as that, is that something that's played on the PlayStation, Xbox, or a computer?
PC. Computer.
So a computer is, in addition to the actual game that's played,
is there also messaging attached to that type of game?
Yes, they have a, something on there where you can send instant messages to other players in the game.
In addition to that information, that instant messaging, can that be done on the computer as well as on a cell phone?
Yes.
In relation to League of Legends, do people create their own, I don't know, names? Usernames.
Yeah, you have the ability to choose your own name.
In addition to usernames, are there different icons icons that are selected from the League of Legends that people can select?
Correct.
And were you aware at the time of James Barry's League of Legends username?
Yes.
And what was its username?
The username was Burned in Hell.
Now, in relation to, so if someone was playing, that would just be the name that was affiliated with his name?
Correct.
Or with his messages?
Correct.
You're going to answer to witness.
Yeah.
I'm showing you it's already in evidence as State's Exhibit 95, Pink telephone. First, in relation to this pink telephone, was this your telephone on November 17th of 2016? In relation, was this James Barry's telephone on November 17th, 2016?
No.
In relation to what I'm showing you on the Samsung phone, it's on the top of the page, this messaging that we see, is that how the League of Legends messaging is displayed? Now, the top of this, where it says Burn in Hell, was that the screen name or username that was used by Mr. James Barry?
Yes.
And I'm opening to a conversation with Hellraiser. That icon, is that one of the icons that is available for selection on League of Legends?
Yes.
And the same in regards to the icon that we saw in Burning Hell.
Yes.
And this conversation, not the content of it, but is that how the conversation will be displayed on this League of Legends?
Yes.
And this top individual, that's the one that you recognize to be Mr. James Barry's username?
Yes.
And I just published this.
Yes.
Just in regards to this, what we see as the icon and the name, that's what we do as belonging to James Barry.
Yes.
Go to not in regards to the content of the messages, but as displayed on the top of the screen in relation to Hellraiser and the icon. Is that one of the icons from League of Legends?
Yes, it is.
And without looking at the content of it, but that how the conversations
Yes.
would be displayed in the message.
Yes.
And this icon and the burn in hell was who you knew as James Barry.
That is correct.
Okay, limited board to hire on that subject before we continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. This is a communication open to anyone in the world who happens to be on the internet.
Correct.
And you know whether Burn in Hell or Hellraiser were limited to one person, or if there were 5 of them, or one in France and one in South Africa?
No, whenever you choose a screening in the game itself, that's limited to you and you alone. Nobody else has access to it but yourself.
Okay. And did you or anyone else know James's password?
His passwords? No.
Thank you.
You may continue.
Now, Mr. Garzabkowski, in relation to Mr. Berry, do you also know an individual named Melanie?
Yes.
And how did you know
Through James.
was Ms. dating Mr. Berry prior to his death? Or, let me rephrase. Did you know in November of 2016, did you know Ms. Eam as Mr. James Berry's girlfriend?
Yes.
In relation to that, did you know her to also hang out, visit Mr. James Berry's home?
Yes.
Were you familiar with the type of vehicle that she drove?
Yes.
And what kind of vehicle is that?
A white Toyota Corolla.
And was it in relation to model, was it a more recent model or?
Older model.
And in regards to States 103, is that the vehicle that you knew Ms. Eam to drive?
Yes.
Same in regards to 99, the side vehicle?
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you about the day of, before I get that, did you also know, you said you rented a room from her, Nicola there?
Yes.
Nicola there. And did you know her to be James's mother?
Yes.
Did you know James to live primarily with his mother?
Yes.
At that point, did you also know her boyfriend at the time, Mr. Guy?
Yes.
And in relation to Mr. Hand, did you know him both when you stayed at the residence as well as when you would visit James at the Glasgow drive-out?
Yes, I did.
Prior to any point in time when you, how long would you say approximately that you knew Guy Hand?
I want to say probably close to 3 years, if not a little more.
Is that from today's date or from when James?
Oh, that's from today's date, yeah.
So would you say a year or around a year, give or take?
Yeah, a year.
Had, in the course of having contact with James Berry, had you ever seen any conflict with James Berry and Guy Hand?
I have not, no.
Did you ever see them argue?
No.
Did you know of any tension between the two of them?
No, they actually got along quite well.
Now, I want to ask you about November 16th, 2016. That day, was that a day that you worked?
Yes.
What did you do after work and what time did you get off work?
At the time, I got off work, I want to say like around close to 2, and that's when I got a call from James saying that he wanted to know if I wanted to come over and hang out a little bit. And I headed over there, and I want to say I got there close to 3, between 3 and 4 o'clock I got there.
And is that the Glasgow Dry address
Yes.
in Loxahatchee?
Yes.
And in regards to that day, did, you said around 3 or 4, did you hang out with James the remainder of that day?
Yes.
In relation to anything you did, was it just the two of you, or was Ms. Eam there?
No, she just left before I got there.
So at the time that you were with Mr. Berry, Ms. Eam was not there?
Correct.
Did you, at some point in time, did you hang out at the house the whole time, or did you
No,
leave?
about 45 minutes after we were hanging out, we went to Starbucks, which was about maybe 10, 15 minutes down the street.
And at some point, did you return from Starbucks and remain at home?
Yes.
That evening, was Ms. Berry and Mr. Hand, were they at the residence?
Yes.
And at this point, were you and
Mr. Barrett, at some point were you, either of you playing video games?
Yes, James was playing League of Legends on his computer, and I was just watching him game.
So in relation, and at some point in time, do you do that for a good portion of the evening?
Whenever we're gaming, yeah.
At some point in time, are you, is it determined that you'll stay there, stay the night that night?
That night I did, yes.
And do you remember around what time, did you fall asleep that night?
I did. He was playing his games, and I had a really long day at work, and normally I would crash in the guest room, but I was watching him play his game. I fell asleep on his bed probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I fell asleep.
And I'm showing you, and if you need to, you can use photographs, but this is a 613 diagram. Is that a diagram, their assessment of James' room?
Yes.
Now, in relation to the desk and the bed, can you see on this diagram, or do I need to show you?
I can see.
In relation, if the witness could step down.
Step in.
If there's a pointer right here, if you could show us in relation to this diagram where, yes, and if you could just show us where you mean in relation to where the bed is and where the computer was.
The bed is right here, and his computer station was right here.
Okay.
Take this.
Yeah, you can, just in case we need to use it. And at the time that you fall asleep, is James in the computer area you spoke of, is he still playing the League of
Yes.
Legends game? And that's the same game we went over as to the burn and hell username?
Yes.
And at some point in the evening as you're there, are you awoken by something?
Yes.
And first, around what time do you think you're awake?
The first time that I woke up was probably around, I would say, 10:45, 11 o'clock, around that time range.
Now, at this point in time, without going into what he said, did James say something to you at that time?
Yes, sarcastically.
At some point, at that point, but did you have a full conversation or did you go back to sleep?
We had a short, brief conversation, and I went back to sleep.
At some point, and as you go back to sleep, is he
He's still gaming.
still on the same game? And then had he asked just for the record?
Yes.
Still League of Legends game?
Yes.
Later on, are you awoken by another noise?
Yes.
What happens that time?
I wake up to yelling and screaming, and what I hear to be a loud bang, which I assumed it was him crashing into the wall, and then the lights were off, and then once I'm awoken by that, I see him slam open his door, turn on the light, and he's yelling. Should I say what he's doing?
Yeah,
He's yelling, "Jeff, please get out of here, get out, Jeff, please help," like to the top of his lungs. I don't know what's going on. I looked half asleep, so my first reaction was I get off the bed, and I literally trip and fall and hit his computer station. And then as I start to regain my composure, I see Guy, and I can see his door start to open, and I see Guy. So I then start to assume, okay, if someone had broken in, then hopefully Guy can handle that while I go tend to James. I then regain my composure. I go over to James. I bring him over to his bed. I lay him on his back. I see an open wound near his chest, neck area. I try to cover the wound the best I can, and not even seconds later, I see the light in his eyes.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to back up some of the assets. You said that you heard the screaming and the bang. Was the screaming that you heard, was that the voice you recognized to be James?
James, yes.
And when you said that he came into the room, was using the diagrams as the doorway that we see here
Yes.
would come in? And did you see, at that point, when you said the loud bang, was his body basically hitting the door?
Correct, yeah.
When does James continue to come in the room?
Yes.
Is he coming in the direction of where you are near the bed?
He comes straight through, and he literally plows into the dresser.
And that's the black dresser that we can see in the diagram?
No, that's the brown dresser.
The brown
Yeah.
And so he is all the way into the, coming all the way into.
Correct.
And you said at that point, as James was already in the room, you saw the door open.
I saw a guy hand open his door. Him and Nicola were sleeping, and they were half asleep. They didn't know what was going on. And once I started reading my composure, as I said, I realized that guy would have been able to handle whatever else was out there, and I just immediately handed it to James.
Now, in relation to the hallway, in relation to how you can view out the way from where you were in James's bedroom, can you see the bedroom that you know belonged to Miss Nicola Berry and Guy?
You can see the door. Yeah.
And when you say the door opened, did it appear to open from the inside of the bedroom and then opening out?
Yeah,
Or-
the inside opening. I believe it went inward.
Okay,
if
so
I'm not
there's-
mistaken. Yeah.
So, but you see the opening of the doors from the interior of the bedroom?
Correct. Yeah, that's where I saw that.
And then at the time that you see Guy coming out of the bedroom, does he look?
He looks completely like what the heck was going on. I mean, he was half asleep, just like I was. And at first he, didn't even know what was going on. At first he probably thought it was some kind of like a joke James and I were playing on. But then once he saw that it was actually for real and there was blood everywhere, he then immediately came to me. And then he was doing chest compressions.
At the time that you saw Guy hand coming out of the bedroom, did he have blood all over him?
No.
Did he appear as if he had just woken up?
Yes.
You said that when James is coming into the room, at any point when James comes into the room, do you see a knife?
I see a knife literally hit the floor. I didn't see it come from James, but I just saw the knife hit the floor, and that's the only time I focused on it.
When you saw the knife hit the floor, when was that in relation to James coming in the room?
That was probably like once he slammed the door open, he had a quick pause, and that's when I woke up and I saw him before he ran to the dresser, and then that's when I saw that knife just literally hit the floor.
And at the point that you saw the knife hit the floor and you saw James with all of the blood,
Yeah.
at that point did you know that it was serious?
Yes.
You said that you tried to go to James and provide aid.
Yes.
What, did you actually cover a wound that you saw on him?
Yes.
Where did you see a wound?
It was probably right here by, it was like his chest, neck area, kind of like right here, maybe a little bit more down, but it was a really deep wound.
And at that point, are you just trying to provide?
I'm just trying, all I see is blood gushing out, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold the wound as best as I can, and I remembered seeing a piece, I think it was like an old shirt or a sock, and I tried using that to absorb it, and I was holding it as best as I could.
And did there come a point where Guy Hand went from his bedroom into James's bedroom as well?
Yes.
And then once he came into the room, did he assist you in trying to provide aid to James?
Yes.
What did he do?
At that point in time, that's when I heard the sirens outside, and Guy, I knew he was more experienced in chest compressions, because I didn't know what I was doing, so I let Guy take over from there, and he was doing chest compressions, and that's when I started to leave the house, and I went to go back to the police to the right house.
And at some point in time, and obviously you spoke about timers, when this is going on, do you also see Miss Nicola Berry come into the residence?
Yes.
Or come into James's bedroom?
Yes.
Does she come from that same bedroom as Mr. Berry?
Yes.
When she does that, is there a point in time when all three of you were in the bedroom? And James?
Very, very briefly, once Nicola saw that, she immediately turned away and started calling me off, if I'm not mistaken.
And so you remember that 911 was called?
Yes.
In relation to Mr. Hand and Ms. Berry's bedroom, I'm showing you what's already been admitted as State 14. Is the bedroom in relation to this, is it the one next to it or across from it? Where would their bedroom be located?
It would be directly across the way, right
So
there.
this area that doesn't have anything
Correct, that would be their bedroom.
And that knife that you saw fall on the ground, James was coming into the bedroom, what kind of knife did it look like?
Well, that looked like a very large butcher's knife.
And you spoke of James falling against the dresser. And you spoke of rendering. Did there come a point in time where you moved James to the bed?
Yes.
And was that in order when he comes in towards the dresser? Is that when you did that?
Yes, once he walks in and crashes into the dresser, that's when I start to regain my composure, and I immediately rush over and start getting brain to the end of that.
And when you bring him to the bed, are you just doing that to help him?
Yeah, because he was leaning up against the dresser, just going like this and just doing this, and he was about to pass out. So I said, James, here, let me bring you over to bed. I brought him on the bed, and then he falls back, and then
And as all this is going on, do you remember screaming for help?
James.
Do you remember yourself at some
Yes.
point when you say
Yes.
screaming for help? Now, as you said that once, that there's a point in time where you go out of the room and try to assist the police officers in trying to come to the right home.
Yes.
When you walk out of James's room, do you notice anything about the hallway?
Everything is bloody. There's blood all over the walls.
And as you are, before you go into the hallway of the room, you said that when you're helping James, is there a point where you're still moving while Guy is trying to help James?
Yes, for
And as you and Guy have helped James, do you see, is he ever able, after that first initial help, is he ever able to say anything else?
He tried to say something before I saw him pass. He tried to say something, but he couldn't.
And you said before you saw him pass, did you see him lose consciousness in his life?
Yes, I saw the light in his eyes. He turned completely pale white.
And when you are leaving that room, is the computer still on?
Yes.
Is the game,
It's still on the screen.
the League of Legends?
It's still on the screen.
And in regards to the knife, did you see at any point the knife continue to be on the ground?
That's the only time that I paid attention to the knife.
Did you, you said you walked outside when when you heard the police siren. Did you stay on scene and help direct the police as to where to go?
Yes.
When police came to the front area, did you direct them as to where your friend was?
Yes.
Did you also stay on scene and give a statement to police?
Yes.
Did you additionally agree to be photographed by a police officer?
Yes.
At that point, did you have blood on yourself?
Yes.
Did you show that blood to the police officer that's taking photographs?
Yes.
You've already been admitted, but states photographs 3, is that you, that,
Yes.
and same in regards to 4, is that you being photographed by the police officers?
Yes.
And as well as states 5, is that the blood that was on you?
Yes.
And this phone in States 95 that we discussed, that was your phone or James Berry's phone?
I do not have any further questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Again. Has anyone told you that it's the defense theory of this case that Guy Hand is the one who killed Jane?
No.
So, do you remember being questioned by the police?
The night of the event?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You remember giving a sworn statement on November 17, 2016
Yes.
at 5:20 in the morning.
Yes.
Can I approach the witness?
Yes.
Page 5. As to your testimony as to seeing Guy Hand open his bedroom door, would you please read to yourself the highlighted area? Page 5, lines 3 through 16.
I read it.
When you were questioned by the police, did you make any mention of seeing where Guy Hand came in from?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
When you were questioned by the police, did you make any comment as to where Guy Hand came into the room from?
Don't think so.
In fact, you just read what you said to the police, correct?
Yes.
And you said you were doing actually mouth-to-mouth to James, and then suddenly Guy appeared, correct?
Yes.
And nowhere within 5 hours of seeing this horrific incident did you say you knew anything about where Guy Hand came in from, did you?
I honestly do not recall.
Well, read it again if you don't recall. In fact, your face was buried in the face of James Berry at the time when Guy Hand appeared, because you were giving him mouth-to-mouth, were you not?
I was.
And that was on the bed, was it not?
That was on the
So you didn't see where Guy Hand came from, did you?
Where he came from. He came from his door. I saw him open his door. If that's not what it says on here, then
Judge, may I publish this?
Any objection to publication?
Objection, improper
That's
impeachment.
proper.
On the night of the incident, when you gave this statement to the police, were you under oath?
yes.
Your memory better in 2016, immediately after this incident, or today in 2018?
I would say it was probably better at the time.
So when did this come to you that it was a relevant fact to give, that in the midst of having your back to the door and giving mouth-to-mouth to your friend,
Before that happened, I saw a guy come into the room. I saw him open his door, and then as he was coming in, I was just getting done holding the wound, and then I then went and gave James mouth-to-mouth. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought that would help. He stopped breathing, so I gave him mouth-to-mouth. That's what I thought would work best. I don't do CPR, and then Guy starts to come in while I start doing that, and then Guy starts to do chest compressions.
And you at no time mentioned Guy's entry to the police on the night of question, correct?
Objection,
I'm confused with what you're saying right now. Can you repeat that one more time? The police with Guy, what?
At no time, under oath, the night of the incident, did you mention to the police that you saw Guy exit his bedroom?
I don't remember if I said,
Do you want to read it again?
I don't need to read it again, I already read it. I'm telling you all I know. I saw a guy open his door as I was giving compressions, and then once Guy came in, that's when I started to give James mouth to mouth, and then shortly after that, Guy came in and then he started doing compression. I don't know what else you want me to say. I'm telling you everything I know.
Okay. About how much blood was surrounding Guy when he was helping with CPR?
How much blood was around him?
Yes.
There was a fair amount of blood on the bed, on the floor, in the hallway. I know there was definitely blood in the room. I don't know exactly how much there was, but there was clearly stains on the floor, on the bed, probably some on the dresser.
Would it be accurate to state that Guy Hand was covered in blood after he tried to save your friend's life?
His hands were. His hands were, and I believe, will be caught on his clothes because he was doing compressions.
What was he wearing?
Just regular, like a night shirt and shorts, if I'm not mistaken. I don't recall exactly what he was wearing, but it was just regular sleep attire.
You recall if it was light or dark, the shirt?
I want to say it was light.
Okay. And had blood on it, correct?
When he opened the door and I saw him, no.
No. At the end of him trying to save James,
Right.
did he have blood on his light-colored shirt?
I believe he had some stains, yes.
Okay. And how about his hands? Were they covered in blood?
Well, yes, he was doing compressions, so naturally he would get blood on his hands.
Got blood on his hands, or his hands were covered in blood?
Just got blood on his hands.
Okay. During the period that James and Melanie were boyfriend-girlfriend, how many times would you guesstimate they broke up?
Objection, also Gibson.
The only times that I...
Hold on. How many times did James break it off with Melanie that you were aware of?
Twice.
Okay. Over what period of time?
The first one was, that was when I was at Nicola's old residence, when at the time I was living with him as roommates, and that was the first time where James broke up with her, and he actually was thinking about date correcting. The second time,
Judge, I move to strike the last comment. It's non-responsive. Approach was done.
The jury should disregard the witness's statement concerning Baker Act. You may proceed.
What was the relationship that you were aware of, if you were, between James' father and Guy Hand?
Objection,
When did you last see this bloody knife?
the last time I saw it was, the main time that I saw it was when it was hitting the floor, when James entered that room. The last time I saw it, I believe I saw a glimpse of it on the floor, but that's the only time that I really paid attention to the knife. I was more concerned with James.
At the last time you saw it on the floor of the bedroom you were sleeping in with James, the last time you saw it, Had Guy already been engaged in CPR?
I believe so, yes. Like I said, I wasn't really paying much attention to the night. All I was concerned was attending the games.
And do you know how the knife ended up on the kitchen counter?
I do not know.
No further questions.
Redirect.
In regards to your statement to the police, you said you didn't recall saying to the police about Guy opening the door. Right, is that what you said?
I believe so, yes.
In relation to your statement to police, was that a pretty brief statement, that one?
Yes.
After that time, after you spoke, did you have the opportunity yourself to memorialize what you remembered about the event? Did you write down what you remembered about the event?
That wasn't that night. That was a few days after.
But short in time, short in proximity to the event, you yourself wrote down what happened.
While it was still fresh, yes.
And is that something you did on your own?
Yes.
And you said you did it while it was fresh in your mind?
Yes. It was probably about between 3 to 5 days after the incident.
And in relation to that statement, did you provide a copy of what you wrote yourself to the defense attorney and myself?
I did.
This was discovered in page 273.
Yes.
And showing you what is marked as stage 121. Is this the actual recorded, your recollection of what you yourself wrote down?
Yes.
And this you did fresh in time as to the event
Yes.
and on your own?
Yes.
And in relation to stage 121, did you write and notate that I noticed Guy opened his door?
Yes.
Did you write that
Yes.
without police interference?
Yes.
3 to 5 days after?
Yes, it was in my room at home.
And was this circumstance, when you wrote this, was it your opportunity to state what you remembered on your own?
Yes.
And in regards to that question about whether you saw a guy open the door, do you remember police even asked you that question?
I honestly don't.
This time, state limited evidence, stage 121.
Objection. Sidebar, please.
Approved. One 121 will be over.
This time, state is in for the question.
You may step down. Thank you. So do you want to get one more witness on and off?
We might be able to get two.
Okay, quick witnesses, go.
Okay, maybe one.
All right, stay call your next witness.
This is second call, Officer Aaron McMullen.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I did.
afternoon, sir. Can you please take a moment and introduce yourself to the jury and spell your full name for the record?
Officer Aaron McMullen, want to spell it?
Yes, sir.
AARON, last name is McMullen.
All right, sir. And how are you employed?
Montgomery County, Maryland Police Department.
Okay. How long have you been with the, I'm sorry, which
Montgomery County Police Department.
all right, I'm sorry, I misheard you. How long have you been with Montgomery County Police Department?
Just under 4 years.
And what is your current assignment there?
I'm a patrol officer.
All right. How about how big is Montgomery County?
Population or?
Just size-wise, is it a pretty large county?
Yes.
All right. And are you from the area?
I'm from the county next to it.
Okay. So on or about November the 18th, as your duty and responsibility as an officer with Montgomery County, were you contacted about responding to an area in Silver Spring via an assist for a Florida agency?
Yes.
Okay, and the area of Silver Spring, is that within Montgomery County?
Yes.
Approximately what time did you respond to the area of Silver Spring?
10:55.
Okay. Did you respond alone?
No.
And do you recall the address that you responded to?
I have notes for that.
Did you have a copy of a narrative report that outlines your involvement in this case?
Yes.
And would it refresh your recollection just to reference that outline?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Don't read it out loud, just read it to yourself.
The address was 11922 Hughes Court.
Okay. And that's in Montgomery County?
Yes.
What type of area is that? Is it residential? Is it commercial?
Residential.
And for what reason did you respond to the area of Silver Spring, the 11922 address?
We requested to locate a vehicle for another agency.
And was that a white Toyota Corolla?
Yes.
Did you have documentation of the particular license plate of that vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the particular license plate that you were called out to try to identify? If it would for
Make sure physically and emotionally you're fine. So, okay. Do you have any other questions for us? What's going on, Melanie? Okay. So what are you scared about? Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we'll be right back. If you have any further questions for us, but like I said, we'll be back to knock on the door. If anything comes up in between that time, please don't hesitate to ask us. Let us know what's going on. Okay.
Now, Officer McMullen, as you see in the video, did you, the officer address, first of all, did you ask the person named Alan?
Objection. Video speaks for itself.
Did you ask the person named Alan?
Yes.
And did a person answering that name come to the door?
Yes.
And did you address her by the name Melanie?
Yes.
At any point in time, did she say, no, that's not my name?
No.
When she was addressed as Melanie, did she seem to understand that you were talking to her?
Yes.
And when you addressed her as Melanie, did she talk back to you as if she knew who you were addressing and understood the words you were saying?
Yes.
Now, you had a short interaction with this individual. Did you have any further involvement as far as interviewing this defendant, Melanie Eam, at any point?
No.
Okay. What was your task as far as making contact with the person?
Just to check a little there.
Okay. And did you report that information that she was at that location back to the radio that back?
Probably about to be a telephone.
Okay, all right. Now, you stated that you also located that light footage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was your body camera activated at that time, at the time you located the light footage camera?
Yes.
approach you with Stage 122B. I'll ask you to recognize Stage 122B. Yes. And what is Stage 122B? Okay, is this the vehicle right here that we speaking about, this white Toyota Corolla?
Yes.
And you have your body camera on as the vehicle is towed?
Yes.
Where's this at here? Is this in the same area that we just saw that video at the 11922 address?
Yes.
And is this before or after you made contact with this defendant, Melanie? Okay. You towed the vehicle before you made contact with her?
Yes.
Okay. If this shows the vehicle being towed, would it have been the after?
Yes.
Okay. The person who identified herself as Melanie Eam, you see her present in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you identify her for the record and just tell me what she's wearing?
She's sitting disabled, wearing a white shirt.
And female at the table. Let the record reflect what you said in front of the defendant.
Record will so reflect.
And this time stated that the evidence states 122B. And seek permission to publish.
The objection to B. No. 122B and evidence without objection.
This vehicle right here, is this the vehicle that you identified as the white Toyota Corolla?
Yes.
With the license plate that had the number 642 RRC as the Florida tag?
Yes. McMullen. I'm all over, man. I'm a lot of traffic stops. I'm all over. So I've been in this district for about a year now. So my work every day has to be more visible than other times. So. I've been working here, including academy, like 2 years. Yeah, I'm 20 years or so. Yeah. We do school.
So we see the car being loaded up onto the tow truck?
Yes.
And what happens to the car after it's loaded on the tow truck?
Let's take it back to the Fort District Police Station, security lodge.
At any point, we see the car being loaded up, at any point, you go in the car, or anything out of the car that you see?
No.
Basically, it's loaded up, nobody enters, nobody exits, and the car goes on.
Yes.
And to where did the tow truck load the vehicle to?
Fort District Police Station.
Is that Montgomery County?
Yes.
Did you have any further involvement with this matter?
No.
And did you ever make any threats, promises, anything to either the defendant or to her cousin at any time?
No.
Does the video properly characterize the interactions that you had with those individuals that day?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The first video wasn't your body cam, was it? Because you're in it, right? Somebody else's body cam. When she said, "I'm afraid," did you at any time ask her who she was afraid of?
No.
And did you ever ask her?
No.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Can you redirect?
Just briefly, the body camera that we saw first, was 122A, was that the body camera of your partner, Officer Barahon.
Yes.
However, when you watched that body camera, you were there and you recognized that video?
Yes.
Regardless of who was wearing the camera, does it fairly and accurately depict the interaction that you guys had when these two individuals had with this defendant?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
All right, officer, you may step down. Thank you. All right, Mr. Chair, I assume nothing more witness you want to go on today, right?
Nothing, no, I don't know.
Okay, all right. We're going to go ahead and break for this evening. You can leave your notepads here for the night. The deputy will lock them up. I'm going to ask that you be ready to go at 9:45 at the area that the deputy designates. 9:45 is kind of a strange time, but I have hearings starting at 8:15 to go through 9:30, and getting everyone cleared out of the courtroom is difficult. So if I bring you back at 9:30, I know I'm wasting at least 15 minutes of your time. That's why I'm saying 9:45. Even then, it's hard to get people out of the courtroom. So I'll get started as quick as I can, but as soon as you're here at 9:45, the deputy can get you back in the jury room as soon as we're ready to start the trial, we'll bring you in. I'll remind you, you cannot discuss the case amongst yourselves. You cannot do any research, and you cannot listen to or read news accounts of the trial. Follow the same procedure that you did this morning. That is, begin in the first floor jury assembly room, sign in, and then come up to the place where the deputy designates. With that said, we'll release you this evening. Have a safe drive home and a pleasant evening. We'll see you back here. Councilman, be seated. I've got one bit of housekeeping I want to take care of before we break. It has to do with the recorded recollection. You were admitting that under 98035. All right. I need to make a correction to the record. It's proper to read the memorandum, which you did, but the last sentence of that rule states that the memorandum itself will not be admitted in evidence unless, as an exhibit, unless offered by the adverse party. So it's not going to be in evidence as 121. It will be 121 ID only, and it will not go back to the jury. You can publish it, is what you did. You can read from the memorandum, but the rule actually states that it will not be admitted as an exhibit unless offered by the adverse party. Obviously, the adverse party is not offered at this time, so it will not go back to the jury. Thank you. I had to refresh my recollection as to the rules. So. All right. Okay, anything else we need to do this evening before we break? I don't know what to do about your interpreter. I mean, if you want to check with Sean.
And what I'll do is I'll check with Sean and then call at 9:30 and tell them that we may be a little bit off call and send them for.
They seem to want to do it at 9.
Can I try it out here? May I ask what testimony is it that they want to listen? They think it's good.
I don't know. I don't know what the testimony is.
I believe there's multiple facets that I do with the cameras, but I can certainly speak with the defense counsel, but I know that.
If you can stipulate to what, who specifically is going to be testifying by use of the interpreter?
Both Ms. Eam's mother and father are listed. I don't know if I call both or just one, but they had contact with her, saw her come back after the incident, and then she was present at the home, and then they went to the actual Hesperi's home to try to find her. So as well as identification of the phone and the vehicle, all the stuff.
Do they both need an interpreter? Well, you can speak, and if you can stipulate, you can stipulate. If not, you're going to have to figure out that interpreter. I will try to do it by telephonically. That's not a problem. think it's a problem. There's a system in the court that should be able to accommodate it, but you'll have to figure out the time, that's all. Because for some reason, Sean wanted it done, said 9 o'clock, and I can't do it at 9
I
o'clock.
sent another email before the lunch hour, so I check the,
What time do you want us to?
Well, we'll be ready to go at 9:45.
John, before we break for the day, I've given the comments and instructions for the council. Requests, unless there's a true manslaughter, I don't think it's custom manslaughter, like papers, as well as the proper words I can for the will be closure.
I would ask for three lessers.
Well, manslaughter is definitely a lesser. What, are there other category ones?
There's no impact.
Well, there are category 2s that you're requesting. I don't know any off the top of my head, but
We have to look, but I would ask for,
not based on completion. Not on,
right, because if it were not an actual death, you could have an act back with other lessers, but with the death, you're going to have manslaughter, I believe.
so we would ask for the manslaughter.
Okay, I think it's in there.
And we taken out the culpable negligence language.
Well, I'll have a charge conference in due course and have a chance to state his position on that. But I've given the instructions a brief look. They're pretty close to the way I like them, although there are a couple of additional changes I'll probably make myself that are just stylistic. Okay, anything else we need to do this evening? Okay, we're in recess.